In today's video, I'm going to be putting two golf balls through the ultimate test. On one hand, we've got the brand new 2025 Titleist Pro V1, the gold standard in premium performance. And on the other hand, we've got the 2025 Kirkland Signature V3 golf ball, a budget-friendly golf ball that some say offers incredible value. But how big of a performance difference is there really? I'm going to be testing both golf balls with a lob wedge, a pitch and wedge, a 7-iron and a driver to see how their performance compares throughout the whole bag. Is the brand new Titleist Pro V1 worth the price tag? Or can the Kirkland V3 compete with this legendary golf ball? Let's get into it. For today's test, I'm going to be using the FlightScope Mevo Plus launch monitor to gather all of my data. And we're going to put these golf balls through a thorough test. I'm going to hit 10 shots per golf ball per club. If you've seen my golf ball tests in the past, you know I like to use club head speed as a controlling factor. For the lob wedge, we're going to be swinging the club at 58 miles an hour to test these golf balls' short game capabilities. For the pitch and wedge, we're going to be swinging the club at 77 miles an hour to test these golf balls' approach performance. The 7-iron is going to be swung at 87 miles an hour. I want to see how good these golf balls perform with a mid-iron. What's the stopping power like and what's the distance like? And finally, the big stick. We're going to be swinging the driver at 102 miles an hour to see how far we can hit these golf balls. Will the Pro V1 justify its lofty price tag? Or should we all be spending less on golf balls? Let's have a look. This test took more than half a day to complete. When you factor in the fact that I had to try and make sure that my swing speed was kept to within sort of tolerance of what I was aiming for, and I wanted to make sure that the strike was consistent with all of the clubs and both golf balls, I hit way more than the 80 shots that we used for these test results. I'm absolutely shattered. But let's get into the results. Right, I'm going to start with the lob wedge results, where spin and control are absolutely key. Let's see how these two balls compare. First of all, let's start with the carry numbers. So, the Kirkland was carrying at 59 yards compared to the Pro V1 at 61 yards. Not a huge amount of difference, but the main difference in those two carry numbers comes from ball speed. The Kirkland's ball speed was 57 miles an hour compared to the Pro V1's 58 miles an hour. Again, not a huge difference, but that explains why the Pro V1 was probably carrying a little bit further. Carry and ball speed aren't actually that important when it comes to the lob wedge. The main things that we need to consider are spin and control. So the spin numbers with these two golf balls. The Kirkland was spinning at 6,155 compared to the Pro V1 at 7,245. Now that is a big difference. 1,100 difference in the spin is huge. That Pro V1 is definitely stopping quicker. The descent angle and the height numbers are very similar with these two golf balls. Yes, the Pro V1 is descending a little bit steeper and flying a little bit higher, again contributing to its ability to stop fairly quickly. But the biggest and main difference is the spin. And spin is crucial when it comes to short game. The Pro V1 is definitely the winner with this first club. If you want the golf ball to stop as close as possible to your pitch mark, you want to be using the Pro V1 compared to the Kirkland. But we've got a long way to go in this test. Let's see if the Kirkland can do any better with the pitch and wedge. Next up, we've got the pitch and wedge. Now, this club is vital when it comes to approach shots. We need the golf ball to be stopping quickly and flying consistently. You need to rely on this golf club to be able to hit the ball close to the hole. First of all, let's have a look at the carry numbers and the ball speed. With the Kirkland, the carry was 130 yards compared to the Pro V1's 133 yards. Now, the difference in the carry number, again, is down to ball speed. The Kirkland's ball speed was 98 miles an hour compared to the Pro V1's 100 mile an hour. Even with wedges in our hand, we're starting to see a pattern where the Pro V1 is flying faster than the Kirkland golf ball. Ball speed means distance, but distance isn't always a good thing. It's all well and good hitting the golf ball a long way, but you need to be able to stop the golf ball, especially with a pitch and wedge. Luckily for the Pro V1, the spin numbers hold up with the pitch and wedge as well. The Kirkland was spinning at 6,664 compared to the Pro V1 at 7,153. So not as big of a difference with the spin numbers, but it's definitely better again with the Pro V1. When it comes to the descent angle that these balls were landing and the height that these balls were flying, there's hardly a difference between the two golf balls. Not even worth talking about. But the Pro V1 is continuing to show better spin numbers, which means it has more control. The higher that spin number, the better the stopping power. And considering that the Pro V1 is flying further and spinning more, again, it's a clear winner with this golf club. In all fairness though, the Kirkland wasn't that far behind. We have to remember that this is a budget golf ball. The price difference between these two golf balls is massive. Let's move on to the 7-iron. 7-iron is another important golf club in the bag. With this club, we want to be flying it as far as possible without compromising too much on the golf ball's stopping power on the green. If you're able to hit your 7-iron a long way and still stop it on the green, that's a recipe for a lower handicap. Let's have a look at how these two golf balls compare with the 7-iron. Again, the first thing we're going to look at is the carry numbers. So, the Kirkland was carrying at 174 yards compared to the Pro V1 at 175 yards. Extremely close results. And that story continues with the ball speed. The Kirkland's ball speed was 118 miles an hour compared to the Pro V1's 119 miles an hour. Barely anything to pick between these two golf balls so far. Moving on to the spin numbers, the Kirkland was spinning at 4,580 compared to the Pro V1 at 4,611. I'm going to fast forward these results for you because these two golf balls, there's hardly anything to pick between them when it comes to the 7-iron. I find it really interesting that the Kirkland was lacking a little bit in performance when it comes to the wedges that we've tested. But when you start hitting it a little bit harder with the 7-iron, for example, the results and performance start to close in on the Pro V1. Again, this is a budget golf ball. And if you ask me, that is premium performance with a 7-iron. Does this story continue with the driver though? Now, finally, what most of you have been waiting for, the driver test results. Which golf ball is going to give us the most distance off the tee? Let's start off with the carry numbers. This is arguably the most important number when it comes to a driver. Apart from direction, of course, we all want to hit the golf ball further. The carry number with the Kirkland was 253 yards compared to the Pro V1 with a whopping 260 yards. The big difference between these two carries again is down to the ball speed. The Kirkland's ball speed was 148 miles an hour compared to the Pro V1's ball speed of 151. The spin numbers are basically identical, the descent angles are basically identical. When it comes to the height though, the Pro V1 was flying a little bit higher. 125 feet compared to 116 feet with the Kirkland. Now that's not a massive difference, but on a windy day, some might prefer the Kirkland off the tee compared to the Pro V1. But to be fair, I think most of us would want to hit the golf ball 7 yards further compared to 9 feet lower in the air. For me, the Pro V1 wins with the driver. So what's the final verdict? Based on those results, I think most of us would actually prefer to play the Pro V1. The performance was so much better. The golf ball's flying further, it's flying faster, and what I wasn't able to show in those test results was how much more consistent the numbers were with the Pro V1. The difference between the highest carry and the lowest carry, the highest spin and the lowest spin was so much better with the Pro V1. And that's exactly what you would expect with a premium brand. What a lot of people don't talk about with these premium golf balls compared to budget golf ball videos is the build quality. But that build quality comes at a price. The Pro V1 is literally twice the price of the Kirkland. If you're someone that's going to lose a couple of golf balls every time you play, is the Pro V1 really worth the money? Okay, yeah, it's definitely a better golf ball and you're definitely getting more performance from it. But was the Kirkland that far behind? It's a tough one. Only you guys can answer that. Let me know in the comments. Would you prefer performance over price? And what do you think about the Kirkland's price to quality ratio? Get in the comments, let me know. For anyone who's made it this far into the video, I've got a little secret about this test for you. At the same time as I was testing the 2025 Pro V1 against the 2025 Kirkland, I was also testing last year's Pro V1. If you want to see a video comparing last year's Pro V1 to this year's Pro V1, let me know in the comments. Let me know that you've made it this far into the video and make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. But for now, thank you so much for watching this whole video and I will see you next week for another video.